Clark, I am convinced they do not want those logo threes. They do not want Caitlin Clark to play her game. They want Caitlin Clark to be a part of the system that Stephanie White has laid out. This isn't Caitlin Clark team. This is Stephanie White and Kelsey Mitchell basketball team supported by Caitlin Clark. That needs to change. Caitlin Clark is the face of the WNBA and the sole reason y'all.
Caitlin Clark's three-point shooting struggles in the early part of the 2026 WNBA season are generating serious conversation,
and the reasons behind the slump are being debated from multiple angles. 5 rebounds per game. She has started both contests, averaging 31 minutes.
5 shooting 45% from the field, and has not missed a single free throw. On paper,
those numbers are strong, better out of the gate than comparable stars at the same point in their seasons. But the three-point percentage tells A'za
Clark is shooting just 18% from deep, and that number is hard to overlook, given how central long-range shooting is to her identity as a player.
Y'all is getting the money to build this big-ass practice facility y'all trying to do. Now, let's pull up some of Caitlin Clark's stats for this 2026 season, because I'll be one of the first people to tell you, man, it ain't looking good. It ain't looking good at all. And I truly believe it's looking like this because Caitlin Clark cannot get into rhythm. So, as of May 14th, which is today, Caitlin Clark is averaging 22 points, 8 assists.
The argument being made by a growing portion of the Fever's observer base is that the issue is not physical. Clark is not dealing with an injury. The in this view is rhythmic, and the rhythm problem traces back to how the offense is being constructed under Stephanie White. The system,
as it currently operates, consistently, routes possessions toward Kelsey Mitchell. Mitchell finished the most recent game with 23 points in 27 minutes,
but posted 0 assists, 0 rebounds, and 2 turnovers. No other player who logged more than 20 minutes in that game finished without a single assist.
8 assists, 4.5 rebounds per game for the Indiana Fever in the 2026 WNBA regular season. She has started both games, averaging 31 minutes, 1 steal, while shooting 45% from the field and 100% in free throws. Caitlin Clark hadn't even missed a free throw this whole damn season. Now, if you pull up her stats next to Paige Beckham's stats, they're better. I'm here to tell you they're just so much better out the gate. Now, in game 2, Caitlin Clark played 31 minutes. She had 22 points. She's average.
The ball goes in Mitchell's direction,
and it does not come back out. The concern is that this structure prevents Clark from finding the flow she needs to get her outside shot going. Logo. Threes. The deep off-the-dribble attempts that Clark has built her reputation around have been largely absent. Those kinds of shots, even when they are not falling, help a shooter establish range and timing. Without them, the
stays broken. What makes the conversation more pointed is the question of organizational priorities.
She had 22 points. She's averaging 22 points. Now, here's to the meat and potatoes. Caitlin Clark is shooting just 18% from 3. Why is that? I don't believe Caitlin Clark is dealing with a back injury. I don't believe anything is wrong with Caitlin Clark growing. I think Caitlin Clark is shooting 18% from 3 because she cannot get in a rhythm, because Stephanie White has a system in place that is now allowing her to get into rhythm. Every player got to find their feet. Caitlin Clark, she chunk up a bunch of 3s.
Mitchell's contract situation is drawing attention. The structure of the offense, the number of plays drawn up to free her,
and the volume of touches she receives are being read by some as a signal that the front office intends to build around her long-term,
rather than the other way around. Clark is widely recognized as the most marketable player in the league,
and the primary driver behind the funding that has made projects like the team's new practice facility possible. The disconnect between that reality and what is happening on the floor is what is fueling the frustration. At the post-game podium,
Clark addressed several of these topics with notable composure. On the technical foul she received during the game,
she was straightforward, saying she deserved it.
Bunch of threes, but her chunking up those threes is trying to help her find her sweet spot. Caitlin Clark ain't been shooting a lot of logo threes, man, and I believe that could be a telltale sign as to why we're seeing the blunder and blender that she's having. See here, this was the start of the interview last night. Caitlin Clark sitting there with a goddamn head down because she know she ain't playing good from three, and it's all Stephanie White fault. Caitlin Clark need to put a big girl pants on and say something less.
First game of 3-0 field goal.
On her three-point shooting, she acknowledged the struggles without letting them define her mindset. Her shot feels right, she said.
And she has not allowed the misses to affect her mentally through the first 2 games. The adjustment she is leaning into is playmaking. Getting her
feet in the paint, drawing attention.
And distributing to open shooters is where she believes she can help the team most right now. She pointed to her speed and burst, feeling fully
recovered. Noted she is race finishing well around the rim and expressed confidence that the open threes her teammates are getting will start falling.
Field goals, she only had 4 points. Just what did LA do so well to just limit that?
You think it was LA? I mean, I think it was foul trouble. I think it was foul trouble. I mean, she didn't get a chance really, and I think it's hard to get into a flow when you're getting called for all those quote unquote fouls.
Officiating has been a conversation through
Nice way to put it.
On officiating, Clark was measured. She acknowledged spending time during the off-season on committees working toward improvements,
specifically around freedom of movement. The early part of the season has not reflected that work, in her view,
and the inconsistency felt similar to the previous year. The ask is not for everything to be called. It is for consistency, so players and coaches can adjust accordingly. Stephanie White, when asked about the defensive performance in Game 2, was brief and pointed.
Conversation through the
Nice way to put it.
through the early part of the season, I guess. And you're talking about I felt really. Caitlin, I know you had some in-game thoughts on the officiating. Just what do you guys make of it so far? And I know that they've tried to course correct it.
I'll take this.
Well, I was just going to say I deserve my technical. I know that.
All right. They don't need any comments. Yeah. No, I mean, I think, look, the reality is
Giving up 78 points, she said, should win a lot of games. She noted areas that need cleaning up: transition defense, ball screen coverage,
and foul discipline in the second half, but framed the overall arc as a growth process that is moving in the right direction. Clark was also asked
about the transition from her rookie year and a shortened second season back to playing full minutes. She said her body feels good, 30-plus minutes.
In Game 2 was notable, given that she spent much of last season under minute restrictions.
the reality is a lot of us spend a lot of time in the off season on various committees trying to remedy this officiating thing. And what we said was that we wanted everything called. Freedom of movement needs to be a thing. And it was not tonight. And I think that there's going to be a calibration, of course, there is. But this felt a lot like last year to me. And that's not where we want it to be. And so I just think that
the turnaround is quick, Friday to Sunday.
Then, a red eye, back to Indianapolis. But the physical foundation appears to be holding. Indiana Fever picked up their first victory of the season
against the Los Angeles Sparks.
Though the final stretch was far more unsettling than the game's overall shape suggested it should be, a 19-point lead nearly evaporated before a
handful of timely buckets. Several from Caitlin Clark steadied things down the stretch and sealed the result. Clark was the standout performer on
the night. She came within 1 point and 1 assist of extending her own WNBA record for 25 and 10 games, and 1 assist shy of adding to her record for 20 and 10
to describe that as a dear Lord, what the fuck was that? From every bench player not named Raven Johnson and Maisha Hines-Allen. The Sparks, Kelsey Plum put up 25. The Sparks offense is not as good as people think it is. Why? Because, like, Julie Allemond is gone. Like, Julie Allemond.
Her downhill attacking has quietly become one of the sharper aspects of her current game. A development that wasn't necessarily anticipated heading
into this season. The three-point shot remains a problem, sitting around 20%.
5. And at that rate, opposing defenses will eventually begin leaving her open and daring her to shoot, getting that number back to even 30%. Roughly, what
Sabrina Ionescu posted in 2025 would change the defensive math around her entirely and make a genuine MVP case very difficult to argue.
Against Kelsey Mitchell, carried the offensive load in the first half, appearing set to dominate the entire contest. She finished the opening half, having looked nearly unstoppable, then went 2 of 8 the rest of the way.
Like, Julie Allemond really was the glue that made the Sparks offense works. Like, the Sparks are actually really bad. Losing Julie Allemond is probably the biggest player loss from one season to the next for a team that was supposed to have gotten better. It is what it is. Erica Wheeler was completely garbage, other than a couple of full court presses.
Both Mitchell and Clark ended the game with nearly identical shooting splits,
neither shooting particularly well from 3. Mitchell went 3 of 4 early before missing her final 5 attempts. 1 late turnover from Clark,
where she drove baseline and released the ball to no one, was the main blemish on an otherwise productive night. Among the reserves,
Maisha Hines-Allen deserved recognition for her contribution. Outside of her and Raven Johnson, who was notably removed from the rotation, the bench
production was genuinely alarming. Damiris Dantas drew extended attention for all the wrong reasons. 11 minutes, 1 rebound.
Consistent defensive lapses, including repeated failures to track back in transition, and a string of missed 3-point attempts.
And a couple of full court presses. Cam Brink was really good. She was really good today. A couple of fouls, but again, it was pretty good. Dearica Hamby, I don't even know. Like, the other running in open layups, what did she do? And Nneka was terrible. Ariel Atkins hit her head, but she was terrible when she played. And Ray Burrell stinks. But honestly, for the Indiana Fever, I thought overall a good enough performance. A very shaky end to the game where they nearly blew it.
The argument that she currently holds a spot as one of the weakest players in the league isn't treated as hyperbole by those watching closely. The suggestion of playing Raven Johnson at center rather than continuing to use Dantas reflects how significant the gap in contribution has become. A trade
for Cameron Brink has been floated as an ideal fix,
though the feasibility of that remains unclear. Lexi Hull is being given time to find her footing after a preseason injury,
but the new officiating rules appear to work against her specific skill set. Her defensive impact is limited by her lateral quickness.
And the current rule environment doesn't compensate for those gaps the way previous ones might have. On the Sparks side, Kelsey Plum finished with 25 points.
But the team's overall offensive structure has deteriorated significantly since losing Jordan Canada, the player widely credited as the engine of
their half-court operation.
Good enough performance. A very shaky end to the game where they nearly blew a 19-point lead. But some big plays down the stretch, some big plays from Caitlin down the stretch really kind of pulled them through, because Kelsey Mitchell had a, 19-point first half? Like, she looked like she was going to take over the game completely in that first half, and she just didn't. It looked like she was going to be just destroying them. And it just kind of...
Kalani Brown was a bright spot with solid play through most of the game. Despite foul trouble, Erica Wheeler, Nakia, I-5, and Lexi Brown contributed very little, and the team's full-court press attempts added little beyond confusion. The Sparks' roster, assessed honestly,
is in a difficult place. One officiating note worth flagging. Clark was bumped on a three-point attempt, a clear hip contact while airborne, that
went uncalled. She finished the game with only 5 free throw attempts, a number that raised eyebrows, given the nature of her attacking style and the contact she absorbed throughout.
And it just kind of stopped from there. Like, she basically, in the second half, just didn't do anything. Like, she was 7 of 9 from the field and then went 2 of 8 to end the game. Not an ideal performance, albeit, again, an identical shooting split to Caitlin Clark. And both of them, I'm not going to say Kelsey struggled from 3. I think she went 3 of... I think the Kelsey got 3 of 4 and missed her last 5. So neither of them coming into the season really shooting the ball that well, which is concerning, I guess. Which is concerning. That being said, the only concerns I have with the Indiana Fever is the fact that they look... Their second best post player this season has been Myisha Hines-Allen. Like, that is the biggest concern with the Indiana Fever, is that Myisha Hines-Allen is their second best post player. Mo Billings, their second best post player. Mo Billings might be the worst defender and might be the second worst defender as a big in the league. And the only reason I say second worst is because the team employs Damiris Dantas, who, by the way, they took a 3 off Dantas. They had her down as 1 of 5 from 3, and then she went 1 of 4 from 3. Damiris Dantas, I'm not joking when I say this, is potentially the worst player in the WNBA. And I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that. I think everybody that's watching these games, I'm not saying that they're definitely going to be in agreement that she's the worst player in the WNBA, but I think everybody watching these games will be in agreement that there's a debate that she's the worst player in the WNBA. That there's absolutely a debate. That it's not a crazy statement to say that she is the worst player in the league. And that is not worst rotation.